Boom. Silence hits harder than any sound. Silence has a strange way of telling the truth. It creeps in like a shadow at noon, where it doesn't belong, yet it fits perfectly. That's where the first alarm lives, in the quiet, in the stillness, in that tiny space between what you feel and what you try to ignore. You sensed something, didn't you? A disturbance behind a calm surface, a shift behind someone's smile. Silence told you everything before a single word left their mouth. It always starts like that, soft, barely noticeable, a flicker at the edge of your awareness. But your instincts caught it with razor clarity, while others drift through life half awake. You're wired to detect the slightest imbalance. You heard the unsaid. You felt the tension hiding behind the ordinary. And that's when your mind tightened, like a hand closing around a secret. It refuses to drop. Funny thing about silence, it never lies. It's the only witness that doesn't owe anyone anything. It exposes intentions without effort. It reveals the weight behind someone's eyes. And when you felt that weight shift even slightly, your inner alarm started humming. Not loud, not frantic, just steady enough to make you pull back. Steady enough to make you rethink everything you thought you knew. People love to pretend silence is peaceful, but you know better. It's the battlefield before the clash. It's the echo of truth returning to you after you've pushed it away one too many times. And when it hit you, it hit clean. A warning wrapped in calmness. A message without letters. A signal meant only for you. You ever watch someone panic without making a sound? It's a fascinating sight. The moment you shut the door on them, their composure cracks like thin ice under pressure. They thought they held the reins. They thought they could read you, bend you, shape you. Then you cut the link. Quiet, precise, clean. And suddenly their entire strategy fell apart because their power never came from strength. It came from proximity. People don't fear losing you. They fear losing the influence they once had over you. That's the real sting, the real fracture. When you stepped out of reach, something inside them buckled. They tried to hide it behind calm expressions, but their silence shook louder than any confession. Control is a fragile thing. It depends on access. And once you took that away, you reminded them that you're not a piece on anyone's board. You are the one flipping the table. I know you felt it too. That moment of sudden clarity. That shockwave of freedom. Like someone had been holding the back of your mind with invisible strings, and you finally sliced every single one. They didn't expect that. They expected the old version of you to stay predictable, measured, contained. But growth has a way of breaking patterns, and when you shifted fast. They couldn't adjust. They couldn't adapt. They were left scrambling for the access they once took for granted. Funny, isn't it? How quiet power is. How little you need to do to send someone spiraling. Not a shout, not a warning, just a closed door, just a step back, just an absence. And suddenly their confidence evaporates. Their certainty dissolves. Their composure fractures in the dark. Because without access to your thoughts, your presence, your energy, they have nothing to shape, nothing to predict, nothing to feed from. They're left staring into empty space, searching for a version of you they no longer recognize. And you walked away with something priceless. Control returned to your hands. Strength returned to your spine. Calm returned to your mind. Not because you fought them, not because you confronted them, but because you disconnected. Silent, sharp, surgical. That was the moment you reclaimed yourself. The moment you stopped being someone they could map and became someone they could only watch from a distance you chose. Scars don't fade. They whisper. They speak in the language of experiences you never asked for yet carry like hidden marks carved beneath the surface. Every line has a story. Every crack, a reminder of where you stood when everything tried to bend you. People think scars are signs of damage, but you know better. They're maps. Silent records of battles you walked through without applause. And each one keeps a memory waiting for the moment you finally stop pretending it didn't shape you. You remember the first one? Don't you? The moment something tore through your trust and left its trace? Back then you didn't notice the lesson hiding beneath the sting. Now you do. Now you see how each scar sharpened you, how each mark refined the way you read intentions, how each wound closed but never stayed quiet. Scars don't warn you out of fear, they warn you out of wisdom. They whisper cautions you can't afford to ignore again. There's a message in every mark, a message forged in pressure, a message written in silence. Some scars teach you where not to return. Others teach you who you should never offer access to again. And some remind you that you didn't collapse, you recalibrated. It's strange how pain becomes a teacher long after the moment has passed. Strange how the lessons you resisted become the insights you now depend on. People try to hide their scars. You instead learn to read yours like codes. They taught you patience. They taught you depth. They taught you how to detect motives behind soft words and comfortable lies. You don't wear those scars as proof of suffering. You wear them as proof of awareness, proof of refinement, proof that every setback shaped your instincts into something sharper than caution, something closer to psychological armor. So listen to them. Every scar has a pulse, a memory, a message. And when the next storm rises, you'll feel those messages humming beneath your skin again. Quiet, certain, unmistakable. They're not there to remind you of where you were hurt. They're there to remind you of how far you've risen since. Calm is a strange weapon. People see a quiet face and think they've won. They assume silence means surrender. They assume your stillness is softness. They never notice the calculations forming behind your eyes. They never sense the shift in your breathing when you start to see their patterns. That's the beauty of calm. It hides the sharpening. It conceals the change. And while they were busy underestimating you, you were busy preparing. They expected a reaction. They waited for it. They tried to provoke it, but you didn't give them anything. Not a spark, not a twitch, not even a rise in tone. That quiet rattled them more than any confrontation could. Calm is pressure without noise. Calm is truth without announcement. Calm is the moment the storm decides to watch instead of strike. They misread your silence as surrender, but all you did was gather information they didn't know they were giving away. Funny how that works. The less you revealed, the more they exposed. The more you held steady, the more they scrambled to figure out what you were thinking. You watched their confidence thin. You watched their certainty flicker. You watched their strategy fall apart in the space of your stillness. Calm is not weakness. It's patience, sharpened into intelligence. its presence shaped into precision. It's the refusal to be moved by noise. And while they predicted reactions, you were building discipline. You were strengthening your ability to see through distractions. You were learning how to detach from chaos without losing your clarity. That's when they lost their advantage. Not in a dramatic moment, not in a confrontation, but in the simple quiet you refused to break. They couldn't handle what they couldn't control. They couldn't control what they couldn't read. They couldn't read what you refused to show. Your calm wasn't for them. It was for you. It was the space where your mind reorganized itself. The space where your intentions aligned. The space where you removed old patterns and replaced them with sharper ones. So let them misread you. Let them underestimate you. That's the luxury you earned. Because while they were busy assuming you were fading, you were becoming something they'll never be ready for. There comes a moment when you realize not everyone should witness your rise. Some people only show up to measure you. Others only stay to monitor you. And a few wait quietly, hoping you crumble so they can confirm the story they tell themselves about you. That's why distance becomes necessary. Not dramatic, not emotional, just necessary. Your becoming is not a spectacle for careless eyes. It's a process too sharp for those who only understand comfort. You noticed it, didn't you? The way some faces dimmed when you started changing. The way certain voices grew tight when you pulled away. Growth exposes intentions faster than any conversation. And suddenly you saw who was clapping for real, and who was clapping because they thought you'd never rise past the version of you they preferred. You stepped back, quiet, controlled, intentional, and with every step, access narrowed. People think they deserve a seat simply because they've been around, but presence isn't permission, familiarity isn't loyalty, and history doesn't equal value. Your path now demands precision. Your space now requires discernment. The wrong eyes can distort your direction. The wrong energy can drain the momentum you've built. Not everyone deserves a close look at your transformation. Some only deserve the distance created by your silence. And there's power in that silence. Power in choosing who gets to witness your shift. Power in limiting what parts of you are visible. The moment you stop giving everyone open access, you stop carrying unnecessary weight. You stop explaining yourself. You stop performing for expectations that were never aligned with your growth in the first place. That's when your becoming becomes yours again. There's a moment when the need to justify yourself simply ends. Not with anger, not with noise, just a quiet shift inside you, a switch that clicks. You stop handing out explanations like currency. You stop proving your intentions to those who already decided who you are. And suddenly you feel something strange, lighter, sharper, steadier. Because the truth is simple, every explanation you give to the wrong person becomes a doorway for them to reshape your narrative. You've felt that drain before. The pull of trying to make someone understand what your silence already answered. The tension of clarifying your choices for minds that only listen to confirm what they want to hear. Every time you explained yourself, you gave them a little more influence over your direction. A little more access to your thoughts. A little more permission to judge what they never built. And when you stopped, everything changed. Explanations are not always acts of honesty. Sometimes they are acts of insecurity. Attempts to maintain peace with people who never intended to offer it. Attempts to be understood by those who only understand from their vantage point. But the moment you stop defending your motives, your decisions, your growth, you reclaimed your authority. You stepped away from the conversations designed to keep you small. You stepped into the weight of your own identity without asking anyone to validate it. And the silence that followed, oh, that silence held power. Not the calm before a break, the calm after clarity. The kind of calm that makes others uneasy because they no longer have access to your reasoning. They no longer know where your mind is headed. They no longer get to shape how you see yourself. You became unriddable. Not distant, just focused. Not cold, just aligned. And people feel that shift even before they understand it. Let them wonder. Let them guess. Let them replay old conversations trying to find where you drifted out of their reach. You owe no one a map of your intentions. You owe no one a window into your thoughts. Walking your path without narrating your every step is not arrogance. It's self-respect. It's ownership. It's the moment you stop seeking permission to grow and start moving with purpose, built from within. Boom! You made it to the end. Can you feel it? That shift rattling through your mind. Yeah, that's you leveling up. Not everyone survives the clarity, but you did. You stayed. You watched. You are absorbed. That alone proves something. Your energy, your focus, your hunger. It's different from the rest. Now here's the deal. This isn't just a video. This is a movement, and you're the spark that keeps it alive. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Tell me what hit hardest, what shook you, what made you see yourself differently. Your voice matters, your energy matters. And don't just watch. Share this with someone who needs to wake up too. Remember, the power doesn't come from watching. It comes from action. From stepping into that quiet strength, from letting your mind sharpen, from walking the path only the brave choose. You're not passive anymore. You're seeing clearly, you're rising, you're changing. And this is only the beginning. Well. Ever felt like no one really sees you? Like you're out here bleeding effort and they act blind? Oh yeah, I know that silence hits differently. You keep holding it down, staying strong, walking through chaos like it's normal, but deep inside, you're wondering if it even matters anymore. Guess what? It does. More than you'll ever know. Because they don't say it, but you're the reason they haven't given up. The reason someone woke up today and said, if they're still standing, I will too. That's your power. Silent, unrecognized, but unstoppable. Oh nah, don't scroll yet. You need to hear this till the end, because this one isn't just a speech, it's a mirror, a storm, a pulse of truth that'll hit your soul. You'll feel it in your bones, every word slicing through fake smiles and empty praise. This isn't about fame, it's about fire. Your fire, the one that kept others alive when their light went out. And to everyone watching, yeah, this is your moment. You survived storms meant to erase you, and you still show up. You still give, still fight, still rise. So tonight, this voice, this madness, this energy, it's a tribute to you, to every silent warrior, every unthanked fighter, every unseen reason someone else still breathes. So stay locked in till the end. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's see who's still standing, who's still unbroken. Because once you hear this, you'll never see your strength the same again. They don't clap for you, but they're still breathing because of you. You ever notice how quiet it gets when your name comes up? The room changes, eyes shift, voices drop. Suddenly, the ones who laughed the loudest didn't say much at all. Oh wow, silence has never been so loud. But that silence, that's not disrespectful. That's recognition in disguise. Because deep down, they know. You're the reason some of them are still standing. You're the reason they haven't collapsed under their own weight. They don't say it, they won't, they can't. But every time they almost gave up, it was you they thought about. See, not everyone who's inspired by you will admit it. Some would rather break than confess that your endurance gave them strength. They watched you crawl through storms they wouldn't survive for an hour in. They saw your hands shake, your world crumble, your heart bleed, yet you still walked forward. That's when they started watching in silence, not clapping, not cheering, just watching, because watching you became their reason to stay alive. You think it's a coincidence that some people linger around your shadow. Nah, it's gravity. The kind that doesn't pull through charm or power, but through resilience. You became a mirror of what they wish they could be. Unbroken, unbent, unstoppable. They won't say it, because admitting it would expose their weakness. And oh yeah, weakness hates a witness. So they hide behind criticism, jokes, or fake indifference, hoping you'll never notice that your reflection is the light in their dark corners. But you know what's funny? You were never trying to save anyone. You were just trying to survive. Just trying to make it through one more day without collapsing under the pressure. Yet somehow your fight became someone's lifeline. Your scars became their roadmap. Your pain became their manual for endurance. Every time you refused to quit, someone out there whispered, if they can make it through that, maybe I can too. It's almost cruel, isn't it? The ones who need you most will rarely tell you. They'll stand behind screens, behind masks, behind envy, yet their hearts are anchored to your fire. You're the pulse they borrow when their own fades. You're the rhythm that drags them out of despair. And still, you walk alone. You think no one sees you. But oh yeah, they see everything. They see the nights you stood in silence, staring at nothing, trying to find a reason to keep breathing. They see the mornings you forced yourself out of bed, carrying pain no one asked about. They see the little victories you celebrated in your head because no one else cared. They see it all. And even though they'll never admit it, you are their unspoken hope. You're the ghost of resilience that whispers in their weakest moments. Don't quit yet. And maybe that's the most haunting part of it all, that your existence is a living sermon of survival, a lesson written in sweat and scars. You've become proof that pain doesn't have to end you. Proof that losing everything doesn't mean you've lost yourself. Even the strongest swimmer can drown when the waves come from within. You asked what happens when the one who saves everyone else starts drowning. Oh wow, that's the cruel part, isn't it? Because no one notices. The world doesn't see strength when it trembles. It only sees weakness. You've carried them through the storm, yet when the tide turns against you, they look away. Suddenly the hero becomes invisible. The one who lifted others becomes the one sinking quietly. It's strange how people love the image of strength, but not the weight that creates it. They want the glow, not the fire. They cheer when you rise, but vanish when you fall. You ever wonder why that hurts so much? Because somewhere deep down, you believed they'd see you, really see you. Not just what you represent, but nah, The truth cuts sharper than that. They only see the version of you that benefits them. The moment your light flickers, they move on like you never existed. And yet here you are, still breathing through the pressure, still showing up when no one claps, still moving when the world forgets your name. You've become addicted to endurance. It's not strength anymore, it's survival by habit. You keep telling yourself, just one more step. But that voice inside you, it's tired. It's been tired for a long time. Because carrying others while pretending you're fine, that's the heaviest burden of all. You've seen it, haven't you? The moment you needed someone, the silence that followed, the messages left unanswered, the eyes that looked away. That's when you realized you were never truly surrounded, just conveniently useful. They came for your strength, not your scars. They admired the fire but ran from the smoke. Oh yeah, it hurts, but there's something hidden in that pain, a truth most never find. Because when you reach that breaking point, when you're alone with your thoughts, when your chest feels heavy and your hope feels thin, that's where real transformation begins. You start to see what others can't. That silence isn't punishment, it's preparation. The drowning isn't the end, it's the test. It's the moment when everything fake gets washed away. All the noise, all the masks, all the illusions gone. What's left is the core, the real you. And that's when you realize something terrifyingly powerful. That the same silence that nearly drowned you is also teaching you how to breathe differently, slower, deeper, stronger. Because when no one reaches for you, you learn to stand on your own depth. You learn that the world's applause was never the oxygen that kept you alive. It was your own will, quiet, relentless, sacred. But there's a darker truth hidden beneath that strength, one most people never admit. When the fire burns too long, even the flame forgets why it started. You asked what happens when endurance turns into numbness, and that's the part no one warns you about. Oh wow, the silence after the storm isn't peace. It's emptiness wearing peace's mask. You stop trembling, not because you're healed, but because you've gone beyond the reach of pain. You stop expecting, not because you've grown wiser, but because you've run out of faith in people's promises. You stop reacting, not out of calmness, but out of exhaustion. It's not stillness, it's survival without feeling. That's the stage where the warrior forgets why he fights. Every wound starts looking the same. Every sunrise feels recycled. You don't cry anymore, not because you've become strong, but because something inside finally broke quietly. Yeah, the kind of break that doesn't make a sound but changes everything. You move, but you don't live. You breathe, but not deeply. You smile when needed, but it's mechanical, a reflex, not emotion. People around you will say, "You've changed." But nah, you didn't change. You evolved into the version of yourself that feels less, because feeling too much nearly destroyed you. You used to care about everyone's pain, everyone's silence, everyone's story, until one day you realized no one cared about yours. That's when numbness took the throne. It's not that your heart froze, it just got tired of breaking over and over again. But here's the irony. That numbness they call coldness, it's actually mercy. Mercy to your own soul. Because if you kept feeling everything, you'd collapse. So you stopped bleeding for those who never noticed your wounds. You stopped explaining your silence to people who never listened to your voice. You stopped chasing connections that only existed when they needed your light. Oh yeah, it's lonely, but it's honest. And honesty, even when it hurts, is still cleaner than fake warmth. This is the moment when you become untouchable. Not because you're above pain, but because you've learned how to carry it without showing it. You're no longer begging for understanding. You've accepted that some people only see what they want. You've stopped screaming for help in rooms filled with deaf ears. You've stopped proving your worth to eyes that were never open. And now, they call you distant, detached, cold. But they have no idea. This version of you is the result of surviving too many storms with no umbrella but your own will. Oh yeah. Numbness isn't weakness, it's armor. A quiet rebellion against everything that tried to break you. Because when you've been shattered enough times, you don't just rebuild, you reforge. Stronger, sharper, unrecognizable. When you wear strength too long, it starts to eat the person underneath. You asked what happens when you forget how to take off the mask, and that, my friend, is the cruelest trick of all. At first, the mask feels like protection. Oh wow, it saves you. It hides the exhaustion, shields the pain, lets you walk through chaos, untouched. But with time, something strange happens. The mask stops feeling like armor. It becomes your skin. You start to forget what your own face looked like before the storms began. You start to confuse survival with identity. You start to believe that your silence is peace and your numbness is control. But control is a quiet prison, isn't it? It locks you inside yourself. You stop opening up, not because you've got nothing to say, but because you've learned that words can't fix betrayal. You stop trusting smiles, because you've seen how quickly they vanish when you fall. You stop asking for help, because you know it rarely comes without conditions. Yeah, it's strange you build the walls to protect yourself, and then one day realize you're the one trapped behind them. The mask demands perfection. No cracks, no weakness, no tears. You become a statue of endurance, carved out of your own scars. And people look at you and say you're so strong. They mean it as a compliment, but you know the truth. You're not strong. You're surviving. There's a difference. One comes from balance, the other from burnout. But who can you tell? No one wants to hear the truth behind a hero's silence. They prefer the myth over the man. And here's the twist. The longer you wear that mask, the more you start to fear taking it off. Because what if there's nothing left underneath? What if you've spent so long being strong that you've forgotten how to be real? Oh yeah, that thought haunts you. It follows you into every quiet room, every sleepless night. You look in the mirror and see the reflection of someone who looks fine but feels hollow. But listen closely. This is the turning point. The mask isn't the enemy. It was a teacher. It showed you what you could endure, how far you could go, how much pain you could carry. It built you, but it was never meant to define you. Because real strength isn't about pretending you don't feel. It's about feeling everything and still standing tall. It's about learning when to fight and when to let go. Oh yeah, letting go. That's the hardest part, isn't it? You've carried pain so long that peace feels foreign. But the moment you dare to remove the mask, you remember something sacred, that you were never meant to live pretending. You were meant to live aware, awake, and free from illusions. But awareness comes with a price, a confrontation most people run from. When truth finally looks you in the eye, there's nowhere left to hide. You asked if you're ready to face the truth staring back at you. And oh wow, that's where it all begins. The mirror doesn't lie. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't fear you. It just reflects what's real. The tired eyes, the heavy breath, the quiet ache that's been sitting behind every forced smile. It shows you what the world ignores. The cost of being unbreakable. You've carried others so long that you forgot the shape of your own reflection. But the mirror remembers. It always does. You stand there staring, realizing that the face looking back isn't the same one that started this journey. You've changed, not because you wanted to, but because life demanded it. The pain, the loss, the silence, they all reshaped you into something different. Stronger, maybe, but also quieter, sharper, wiser. The kind of strength that doesn't roar anymore, it just exists. It doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. And yeah, that's power. Not the loud kind, but the kind that moves mountains in silence. You start to understand that the world's opinion was never your foundation. It was just noise, temporary, fleeting. The applause, the hate, the indifference, all just echoes. What matters is what's left when the echoes fade. You, the one who refused to disappear when life tried to erase you. The one who kept standing when the weight should have crushed you. The one they still don't thank, but secretly need. Because somewhere out there, someone is holding on today because you didn't give up yesterday. Nah, this isn't about pride. It's about purpose. The kind that's forged through endurance. You've become a quiet example, a walking lesson that strength doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just keeps showing up, again and again without complaint. You learn that silence isn't weakness, it's my focus. You learn that loneliness isn't punishment, it's refined. You learn that pain, when endured with dignity, becomes wisdom. That's what they don't teach you, that scars aren't shame, they're records. Proof that you went through the fire and didn't lose your essence. And oh yeah, this is the part most never reach. Acceptance, not of defeat, but of truth. You realize you can't save everyone, and you were never meant to. You can only light your own path, and those who were meant to follow it will find it. That's the peace you've earned. Quiet, steady, honest. So you wipe the fog from the mirror, take one last look, and finally you see yourself clearly. Not the mask, not the pain, just the person who refused to quit when quitting would have been easier. The one who became strength in human form. The one who never needed to be celebrated to matter. And as you walk away from that reflection, there's no applause, no crowd, no noise, just stillness. The kind that feels like closure. The kind that whispers, and that's it. Silence again. But this time, it's not the silence of pain. It's the silence of power. Oh wow. You feel it, don't you? That weight lifting off your chest, that realization burning behind your eyes. You finally see it. You were never invisible. You were essential. They may not say it out loud, but every breath they take carries a piece of your fight. Every smile they fake was learned from your endurance. Yeah. Nah, don't let them fool you. They watched you survive what would have broken them. You became the blueprint of strength. The reason hope still exists in hearts that forgot how to believe. You walked through storms without shouting for witnesses, and that quiet courage, it spoke louder than any applause ever could. So take this moment. Stand taller. You've earned it. Not because they clapped for you, but because you never needed them to. Oh yeah, this one's for you. The silent light, the one who carries others without asking for credit. If you felt this, if this speech hit something real, don't just scroll away. Drop a comment below. Say I'm still standing, and let every unseen fighter know they're not alone. Because together, we're louder than the silence they tried to bury us in. They don't say it, but you're the reason they haven't given up.